This video can help you figure out if you need this game in 10 minutes or less to help you save time. Don't believe me? Then stick around. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everybody. My name is MiAh the King, and I heard that if you ask people to make a video go viral, that it works. So whatever you do, don't make this video go viral, alright? I'm trying to stay on the down low. Now then, today we're taking a look at a game just released on Steam called Primordialis, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Developed and published by Kyler Native Dad. Boy, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Released in early access and selling for $20. So what even is this game anyway, and is it even worth it? Well, Primordialis is a physics-based roguelike game where you basically get to use your own creativity and ingenuity to design and create your own fish-like creature, and whilst doing that, you explore the depths of this ocean, I think, and just evolve, I guess. Yeah, there's no plot, no story, no explanation, nothing really. You're just some creature, and other little creatures want to kill you, I think. I'm not even sure if they're eating me or just killing me. So, with all that lore out of the way, let's get right into the good and the bad, shall we? So up first is the good, and I think the first positive point, honestly, is the idea of this. It looks kind of like shit, right? But as you play it, you start to actually see what the dev was going for here, and it's really interesting. It's kind of like Spore. Like, does anybody remember that game, Spore, from way back in the day? The cell stage of Spore? It's kind of like that, but a lot more brutal and unforgiving. It's kind of roguelike, and I say kinda because a lot of roguelikes have a resource or two that sticks with you even when you die, so that way you can eventually get stronger and progress no matter how much you suck, like me. This game doesn't have that though. Its start is randomly generated, and you always start over at the beginning, and the overall idea is just being a random organism that must evolve and absorb to survive and thrive. Now, it's a really interesting idea presented in a very unique way, and because of that, it's a legitimate positive point in my opinion. Next up for the positives is the sound design, although I will say the music can be quite repetitive. However, the musical quality is very nice, as are the sound effects. I get the feeling of being deep down in the dark blue primordial sea trying to survive from the music and sound effects, and that's pretty awesome. It's exactly what you want. Sound is a big factor in immersion and player retention, so with it working fairly well here, it truly helped me with my own immersion overall, and honestly, I don't even notice the repetitive music. My wife is the one who noticed it and commented on it. Next for the positives is the gameplay. I have a few issues with it, but it's nothing too major. Basically, the problem I have with it is how it seems to feel a little bit imbalanced. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But some powers and abilities feel more powerful than the ones you can get, and don't seem to work for you the same way it works for the ones trying to kill you, but the gameplay is fairly simple. See, how it works is you get these cells, and you can basically draw whatever the hell you want. You've got standard cells, but you've also got the lightweight cells to make your body overall lighter, you know, kind of self-explanatory. Then you've got other cells that do various things, like spikes, or electricity, or acid, or bombing, or whatever. And here's the unique cool part. The shape of your body and the weight of your body matters in almost all things. Movement, turning capability, speed, damage, resistance, and possibly more. So how you design is just as important as what you add to the design. In other words, let your imaginations run wild as you try to figure out what kind of design best fits your playstyle, and that might not even work. It's a creature creator sim, basically, and you may be forced to change up your playstyle and your design style just to figure out a body type that works just to help you survive this dog-eat-dog world. I found that using multiple layers of spikes provides great defense and great counterattack benefits, but slows me down exponentially, which I felt was a fair trade-off. I switched to lightweight cells and gave myself a few tentacles to increase speed, which did help, but I was still too slow and awkward to chase the faster fish or escape the bigger fish. Now, most of the time, my multiple layers of spikes kept me alive, even from the big scary fish, but then I encountered a bigger, scarier fish with lots of spikes and poison, and needless to say, he devoured me, and I had to start all over. But there's a lot going on here, and the overall gameplay feels fluid enough and makes sense for the most part, and can have some really fun and interesting moments if you play it right. I actually like the idea of this gameplay, but it's not all good. The electricity cells don't kill and barely do any damage to anything, and honestly I felt they were worthless, so I never used them anymore. The same for the burning ones. Then you've got the exploding cells, which also do damage to you, so I didn't see the point in using them. And then you've got other cells, you know, over 60 different types, by the way, that I just don't understand, but we'll go into that in the negatives. It's not perfect, but it's not bad for an early access game, and that's a good thing, at least for now. And last but not least is the stability of the game. Despite being in early access, the game never froze, never crashed, never clipped or bugged or broke on me in any way. In fact, the gameplay was super smooth and worked very well, and overall I didn't even notice or recognize any signs that it may be in early access from the stability and smooth gameplay alone, so that was nice. Unfortunately though, that's all the positives I got to say about the game that I could think of that were large enough to mention, and now I gotta go into things I didn't like. But before that, consider supporting the growth of my channel. I'm trying really hard to get to 5,000 subs, and y'all just helped me get to 4, so keep helping me out, I really appreciate it, and thanks for helping me get here. Also, I do these videos to try to help people save time and money, but I can't really help you if you're not notified in time, so that's why you gotta hit that notification button down below. It'll let you know when I put out new content so I can actually save you money and time, alright? Alright, now on to the negatives. So the first negative for me is the price tag. Now don't get me wrong, I've stated before the graphics don't make the game, and I still stand by that, but this game, but for a game like this in early access, I feel like 20 bucks is pushing it. I mean, I think the only thing here that might actually make the game worth its asking price is the length of play, which in itself can't really be counted when you consider it's a roguelike. In other words, it's designed to take a shitload of your time to get through. However, that's really the only reason it might be worth 20 bucks. There's not really a whole lot of other stuff included in this game that makes me think it would be worth that kind of price tag. I think for a game like this, and especially in early access, it should be closer to $15. Not a big deal, but I still think they overpriced it just a bit, and I don't really like that. I just don't see how it's worth $20, but if you think it's worth $20, please explain to me why you think so in the comments down below. I'd love to talk about it, just be respectful. Next up for the negatives is the tutorial or the learning curve. Now, if you're a brand new player to this game like I am, then you're gonna have a bad time. The tutorial is awful, and it doesn't teach you dick. And even after playing it for a while, I'm still confused as hell. I honestly have no idea what does what with my body. It's cool that different shapes give you different speeds and maneuverability and whatever, but I don't have any confirmation of the fact. I have no idea how this works or how that works. I fiddled around with a lot of different design choices and still can't figure out how it all works. I mean, in my opinion, this is going to take you extensive research to figure out how exactly it works, simply because the game doesn't tell you or teach you. It only teaches you about the user interface, which is fine, but still awkward. And even after all that, you still won't have any real verification that what you did even made a difference. Also, I don't know why this particular creature with spikes is more effective than my spikes. Why does his poison work on me, but mine doesn't work on him? I have a lot of unanswered questions, and the game didn't provide any answers. And it also just throws you into the deep end, not really telling you anything at all. Basically, you start off completely in the dark with absolutely no idea what does what, or how to do anything, what you're supposed to be doing, etc. I literally have just as much information now as I did when I first started playing, and I really don't like that. However, I will say, even then, the game kinda works in your favor because the game gives you a sandbox mode that allows you to fiddle around with the design so you can try to work out how it works for yourself. So even this isn't even that big of a deal, but it can still be an issue for some people, which is why I had to make mention of it. And I'm still fairly confused, which I don't like. And last but not least for the negatives is the overall graphical quality. Now again, this isn't that big of a deal in my opinion, and honestly it's not even that bad. For instance, the environment looks pretty good, but everything else is just kind of mid-quality. I briefly mentioned in the beginning how graphics typically determine price and how a game with these kind of graphics don't normally charge this much, but, you know, overall the graphics are just mid. Not bad though, I'll say that. They're not bad. They kind of fit the theme actually, but, you know, it's not great, so I know there are people out there that will care about that kind of stuff, which is why I mention it. But honestly, that's all I could really think of to say negatively about the game, and even most of those were kind of just nitpicking. So what are my final thoughts? Well, let's see. I think it's a very unique and original, interesting game with an innovative idea and trying to do something different from most other games. It's stable, it's programmed fairly well, albeit very confusing and challenging, and for the most part, most of the gameplay components are rather cohesive. Personally, it's not for me. I'm not really into roguelike games in the first place, but I wanted to give this one a try because my brother asked me to check it out for him. And yeah, it's definitely an interesting little game with some serious potential. I wish there was more information, and I wish I had more of a tutorial for people like me who are brand new and have no idea what we're doing, but it's harmless, and even though I don't agree with the price, at least it's not abrasive. So here's my recommendation. If you don't like typical roguelike games, and if you're not particularly creative, then you might want to pass on this one. However, if you love creatively building things, and if you enjoy roguelikes, then I would highly encourage you to check it out. Bottom line, it's not a ripoff, it's not broken, and for what it is, it's designed fairly well with only a few kinks here and there. And honestly, that's to be expected simply from being in early access. Yet despite being early access, I think it was a pretty solid release. So there you go. I think it's an average quality game, but with an above average, arguably even a great and original idea. Alright, so that's all the time I got for today, everybody. Thanks so much for watching, with a special thanks to those of you who stuck around to the end. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you all again on my next adventure. So until then, I bid you all farewell.